She wasn't supposed to be there that night. An executive meeting, a glass boardroom, and one silent man watching from the corner. To everyone else, he was just security. To her, he was invisible. But when a single word slipped from her mouth, the air froze. He didn't flinch. He didn't shout. He just looked at her with the calm of someone who's seen too much, and the authority of someone she'd never dare to cross. What happened next would leave an entire company questioning everything they thought they knew about power, privilege, and who really holds control in the room. How do you react when silence speaks louder than justice itself? Before that night, Agent Marcus Hale lived a life built on precision and silence. By day, he blended into crowds calm, composed, invisible by choice. He'd spent years undercover, walking the thin line between danger and duty, his identity buried deeper than any badge could reveal. Few knew who he truly was. Fewer still knew the weight he carried behind his quiet eyes. When the Bureau assigned him to internal surveillance at one of the country's largest tech corporations, it seemed routine, a standard background sweep. Nothing more. The company's CEO, Evelyn Grant, was a name whispered with power. Sharp, unshakable, untouchable. To her, the man standing by the door in a security uniform was just another face in the background. Marcus had learned to let assumptions work in his favor. It was safer that way. But sometimes, silence hides storms, and on this night, beneath the fluorescent calm of that glass tower, something was about to break. A single moment, careless, cruel, and spoken without thought, would expose not just prejudice, but the dangerous illusion of control that power creates. Because when truth steps into the room, no one leaves unchanged. The meeting had stretched to late into the night. Fluorescent lights hummed above the polished glass table as tired executives packed their laptops and half-finished coffees. Marcus stood at his post by the door, steady, unreadable, scanning every movement without being seen. It was muscle memory by now. Observe, record, remain invisible. But then Evelyn Grant entered. Her heels struck the marble like a metronome of authority. The air shifted, people straightened, smiles appeared, the kind that looked more like armor than warmth. She didn't see Marcus at first. She rarely did. To her, he was background, a silent fixture, useful but unimportant. Then it happened. A junior analyst, young, nervous, dropped a folder near Marcus's feet. Papers scattered. Marcus bent to help, handing them back with a calm nod. The analyst thanked him softly, but Evelyn's voice cut through the room. Let him handle it. That's what he's here for. Laughter followed, thin, awkward, desperate to please her. Marcus froze, just for a heartbeat. The words weren't sharp, but the weight behind them was. A reminder, a reduction. In that instant, every quiet day of restraint pressed against his chest. He stood, expression steady, but something behind his eyes shifted. The room didn't notice. It never did. As the meeting went on, Evelyn spoke about ethics, diversity, and public image, words that sounded clean but hollow. Marcus listened, recording every syllable for the Bureau's investigation into illegal surveillance contracts and data manipulation. Irony clung to every sentence. She didn't know that the security guard beside the door was the one man capable of dismantling her empire from within. But then came the real moment. A security alert flashed on Evelyn's tablet. An unknown data access attempt. Her tone sharpened. She turned toward Marcus. Check that. Now. He moved quickly, pretending to follow orders. But when the system log appeared, it showed her own ID, initiating the breach. For a second, their eyes met hers, confused, his calm. She didn't understand how he knew, or how her carefully hidden corruption had surfaced in real time. Who are you? She demanded, her voice brittle with authority, with fear. Marcus said nothing. Silence, once his disguise, became his weapon. The others in the room watched, unsure what was happening. Evelyn's voice rose, defensive now, hiding panic behind command. "Don't just stand there, move!" But Marcus didn't move. His stillness filled the room with a tension thicker than sound. Behind him, the door clicked shut as bureau agents began their silent descent through the building. What no one realized yet was that every second of this night, every word, every gesture was being broadcast to a secure line outside. The truth was seconds away from being revealed. And when it was, the balance of power would shatter. The room erupted. Voices clashed, executives demanding answers, security scrambling for control, Evelyn shouting orders that no one obeyed. But Marcus remained still, his calm cutting sharper than any command. On the main screen, the bureau feed flickered to life, Evelyn's own emails, hidden recordings, and coded transfers spilling across the display for everyone to see. Her empire exposed. "What is this?" she snapped, her tone shaking between fury and fear. "Who gave you permission?" Then she stopped, her gaze locked on the small badge Marcus drew from his pocket, black, unmarked, undeniable. The kind no one argues with, the kind that ends careers. Her face went pale. The same woman who had laughed minutes ago now trembled under the weight of the silence he carried. You set me up." Marcus didn't speak. He didn't have to. Every injustice he'd swallowed, every insult disguised as politeness, every moment he'd been looked past, this was the reckoning. But then came the moment no one expected. A trembling security guard, confused and panicked, reached for his weapon. "Stay back!" he yelled, his voice cracking with fear. Evelyn screamed. Marcus lifted one hand, slow, deliberate. "Don't!" he said softly. "No one needs to get hurt." The guard's finger twitched for one terrifying second. History hung in the air. Another man, another misunderstanding, another name that could have been written in tragedy. Then silence. The guard lowered his gun, breath shaking. Evelyn stared at Marcus, eyes wide with something between hatred and shame. "You could ruin me." Marcus met her gaze. "You already did that yourself." Outside, sirens wailed, growing louder, justice closing in. Inside, the weight of truth pressed down like gravity itself. For the first time in years, Marcus felt the calm of being seen not as invisible, not as a shadow, but as a man who stood his ground when it mattered most. And as the doors burst open and agents flooded the room, Evelyn realized what she had never understood. Sometimes, power doesn't shout. It just stands still.